Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good, not too bad. I listened to Legends of History. I shared on my community the Gospel of Mary that they say they only have partially. That is a lie. The Jesuits have the full scripture of the Book of Mary, and it's a very pertinent one pertaining to the Gospels, scriptures. And well, I will share the partial of what they've got um, told by the Legends of History, but it's disgusting, and that brings me to liars and connivers. Like today, I was frustrated, but I didn't do anything. But I grabbed Doug, and it was like I did like four punches in the air by him. I'm like, dude, you know, I mean, just unbelievable bullshit. And that's kind of too pertaining with all the crap that's going on out in this world as far as liars. And my question I asked him, if you were to get pummeled for every lie and betrayal you've done, what would you look like? And he tried to change the subject. So I asked him it again. What would you look like if you got hit every time you lied and betrayed? I think a lot of people out there be pretty much dead just on that premise alone. It's an interesting theory, isn't it? Disgusting. I do hate liars. I really do. So, anyway, my stew did turn out good, and I suffered all night for it. And I kind of thought I might, because for some reason, I don't know if it's like the sulfa that's naturally in onions, or um, being that potatoes are part of the nightshade family, or what it is. I love them. Like my favorite food, one of my favorite foods is mashed potatoes. But I had them in the stew, and something else in there I wasn't supposed to have: onions, potatoes, and cabbage. But it was good. It tasted really good. But yeah, I I was like jumping out of bed with cramps, and it was pretty horrible. And I took an aspirin. As if I get up, it was started in my foot where I have my broken had my broken toes, but they still feel like numb. So I started feeling like it was going numb last night, more numb, and then it kind of just kinks up, and then I have to get up and step on it in order for it. Sometimes it goes like way up into my legs and all that. Before I knew that taking an aspirin does help for that. So I took some of them and laid back down, and I did get some sleep. But when I woke up again, pretty much kept me awake early in the morning till sunrise, and then I got up and made coffee and whatever. But yeah, it was painful. So I'm not sure what I'm going to have for supper. I'm pretty leery. I think I'm going to leave that alone. I don't know. I'll just have to see. But it's a bummer because, you'd think, well, vegetables, they say how good vegetables are for you. Oh, yeah? Then why can't I eat them, Like peas, all lentils, all legumes, asparagus, corn. I'm allergic to it all. And yes, it does affect me, you know. So anyway, does anybody else have any problems? salads with vegetables. I can eat lettuce. I'm not supposed to have tomatoes, but they say now that tomatoes are not good for like anybody unless they're cooked or some funky. Who knows what? Now they're saying eggs are bad for everybody, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, bacon never affected me like that. I mean, I don't eat a lot of it. I think it was so maybe a couple months ago I had like a bacon lettuce tomato sandwich, but I don't usually eat it. But I mean, just the fact that if I do, about the worst that could happen is maybe I'd gain some weight because the amount of fat or my salt intake. But um, yeah, I don't know. If you had like a pound of bacon versus a bag of potato chips, you're probably better off eating the bacon. I mean, if it were like one or the other, but I don't know. So, it says in the scriptures that no man had met God. Doesn't say woman. Um, and yeah, the disciples did hate Mary because she had a more clear understanding of the scriptures and the spoken word of God in her heart and Christ's teaching. And just like now, men really think that they have it more together than women. I mean, I'm not debating who's more intelligent in the world. That's not even, I don't care. You know, I'm just saying the way society has been from day one, you know, it's not, it's never really glorified the female anywhere beyond her looks, really. Take, for instance, the first inventor of a light bulb was actually stolen by a man, but the inventor of the light bulb was a little dark skinned lady, a black woman, you know. Bet you didn't know that, or maybe you did. Some of you are pretty darn smart on here, you know. I mean, just the things, little things like that, that are covered up. It's like a actress in the 40s and 50s. There was a woman named Hedy Lamarr. She's very beautiful. She also was an electronical engineer. And they didn't really credit her for her scientific knowledge. They were more um, worried about her appearance, you know. So, and right now in society, people are being lied to about the scriptures in the biggest ways possible. So, something that bothers me, but not enough to really like unfollow somebody. But when they've been so hurt by religions that they call themselves spiritual, but then they say have faith when you ask the universe for something. It's not the universe that gives us what we ask for. Materially, that's always Satan. That God has absolutely nothing to do with anything that you acquire material wise. I'm not, okay, I could rephrase that. Maybe not. Very little to do with it. He'll make sure that your needs are met. Beyond that, I could say you're probably working with the other guy. But it does bother me when people will say, have faith in the universe. That's about the biggest false teaching that's going around right now. Taking God out of the picture. It's so hard for these people to say the word God. Um, because of how they've been hurt by people that claim to have God in their hearts. And that's a horrible thing for the little people, you know. I think personally, I don't know. I mean, just naturally, when I was a kid, I have a granddaughter like this too, but I would make my family say grace before their meal. They kind of cut that out after a while, but I would make them cross their hands and close their eyes and say grace over their meal. And if they didn't have their eyes closed, I wouldn't start saying grace until they complied. That, for me, was making people that I knew were godless show respect for a God they didn't believe in, but yet would support a church and have me trained in that church to glorify Satan and um, initiate what they wanted me to do with the rest of my life to benefit them and everybody else. So I had caught on at a very young age that what they were promoting and what they were doing, that something was wrong with it. I always had this eerie feeling when I went around churches like something demonic in there, you know. And there's times like I had been alone in the church, like if I was cleaning it or something, and it was always like the freakiest feeling like somebody died there, you know. Every church you walk in there, if you're alone in there, maybe not if it's full of people and they're singing and you're rejoicing and everything, but be alone in them places and see what kind of vibe you get, you know. I don't know. I heard Texas might be having a cold snap coming down there, maybe even up to, would they say, like an inch of sleet, as far as like Dallas and down. I don't know as far as like Austin or San Antonio or any of them more southern, but at least as far um, south as Dallas from what they're reporting, and out in the western states like Montana and Wyoming and the Dakotas, it's like 50 below out there with the wind chill. That's where right now we have -3 Fahrenheit. So it's cool. So I don't know what it's going to get here today. I didn't really look at the um, weather forecast or anything yet. I was just listening to Super Dave 44 has got ice, freezing rain, and recorded cold temperatures into Wednesday and through the week. So, and I think he is in mm, Arkansas or Tennessee. Some one of the he's got definitely got like a southern accent, more like hillbilly-ish. So I'm not sure, but anyway, yeah. Anyway, Doug had come back in and was telling me what he had to do on this one car anyway. and started talking to me again about why am I so upset? Was it like just one little thing? And it's like, no, that's the point. It's not just one little thing, you know? Not to discourage anybody when you're in a relationship and it's going smooth and you just have your normal, typical, maybe altercation, you know, like something didn't go right or one person got upset or something. That's not what I'm talking about. This is little things that are set up by insecure people that do a lot of shady stuff and they don't want to be held accountable for it. So they'll do things and set things up around the people they're around that are bothersome intentionally to take the shame and the feeling of insecurity and the lies and all the bullshit, to take that off of them and make them feel better about what they've done in their lives, you know. So, and I really would even ask my government, all the lying public officials around the planet, for every time you told a lie and you were shady to the people that were listening to you and following you on this planet, can I smack you one time for every lie you told as an adult? I'm not talking if you're a little kid and you screw up, or most lies when you're a little kid is done out of fear of the consequences. Well, these people have no fears of the consequences. And that's what I'd like to show them different, that there are consequences for your actions. And you should be afraid. Doug asked me, would God want you to beat somebody up? And I said, maybe. I said, probably not, but maybe. I said, and if I did, would that make me godless? Or is the person that I want to smack godless? You know? And I really didn't want to smack him, otherwise I would have. But anyway. So yeah. What do you think about the public officials take a lie detector test and every time they lied, we have a cattle prod, and every time they lied, we can zap them. That would be cool. Or just put them all in an electric chair and have them take a test and have the tests be like electronic dots. And just any time that they lied, they'd get a shock. And, you know, if the score added up to like so many lies, like there's a quota on how many times you can lie, and then you just expire. I wonder how many of them would take that test, you know? So, really, if you're around somebody that has to, like, belittle other people or set things up in a certain manner to make you, even if it makes your life more difficult, um, and then makes excuses for it, you know, like I'm just going to use this for an example. It's not like this happened, or I don't know if it's happened, but it'd be like them saying, "Well, I cheated on you because you acted like this, or you did that, or you didn't understand this." You know, you cheated because you're slimy like that. You know, it's not nothing I did. That's who you are. You know, I mean, when you're in a relationship with people, And they're going to use anything as an excuse to go outside of that relationship and do something to another person. They're just using that for an excuse. You know, they wouldn't do it if they didn't want to do it. I'm faithful to a bozo. Bozo the flippin' clown. And I still would not do anything shady, you know. But that's me, you know. That's who I am. But then I'm not afraid to tell Bozo the clown that he's Bozo the clown right to his face. And maybe that helps. I don't know. You know, really. Maybe sometimes expressing how you feel inside is the best thing you can do, even if they're not going to like what you're saying. Because if they're narcissistic, they're going to do stuff to you anyway. You could be walking on eggshells just like they love, which I will not do, but you could be doing that for them, and they're still going to go out of their way to do something just to cause a rift. Okay, I'm going to tell you this little thing that happened today. I mean, it may not be the biggest deal in the world, but it made absolutely no sense, none whatsoever. I've got a spot in the wood cook stove in the warming drawer because we don't use it, where I've got plastic bags. And it was 10 feet away from where Doug was. He was cleaning the litter box. He went into the laundry room and took some bottles of some stuff that I had, like vitamins and different things, in a plastic bag to keep the dirt off them. Took all these things out of a bag to use the bag to clean them, instead of walking 5 more feet to get a bag. And I'm like, I don't get it. So make more work for me to make your life easier. It just doesn't make sense. Do you see what I'm saying? It's these little nonsensical. I mean, that's not the worst thing he's ever done, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I just didn't fucking get it. I still don't get it right to this second. So then he's like, well, I'll just throw them away. That's when I grabbed him and pretended to pound on him. You know, that type of thing. So, yeah. Am I ashamed? Fuck no. Hell no. Would I do it again? Well, hopefully it will never be real. That's as close as I can come to any kind of feeling any kind of shame in that situation or that type of thing. So I told him, well, you're just not a man. And he said, and you're not a woman. I said, I'm not your woman. Well, I'm God's woman, you know. So, cheers to that, everybody. So, this little crazy making is what they call it in the narcissist circle, you know. And yeah, it will make you crazy if you don't know what it is. Can you imagine just encountering something like that? I mean, like on a daily basis, and you don't know anything about the human psyche, like no, never studied psychology at all. So, like your knowledge base of what a shady individual might do isn't even there. It's kind of like, well, see, this is what amazes me about society itself. They're so like everybody lies type of thing. So that's 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 the scale they ride on, the level they're on, and they actually think that, you know. So if they ran across somebody that didn't do that, they wouldn't even know. Would they care? Probably wouldn't even care. Why would they? They're pretty much set in their ways. Maybe they don't care that their governments are lying to them because they probably lie to the government. They probably lie to their spouses, to their children, to everybody they encounter. If you tell one little white lie there and maybe it grows into a bigger one, or maybe they really do not care. I don't know. But I'm going to go with this video and state the fact that the people that are hiding the true scriptures from people, you better start putting out the truth, because there are consequences. And I, for one, am going to make sure that you pay those consequences. You'll see it. I'll see it before I die. I'll see these people paying for the shady deeds that they've been doing. And I've heard a lot of people like, oh, there's a list and they're rounding them up. No, they're not. How foolish are you? There's no list. The only roundup is going to be when people like me do what I'm doing and confront your daily monster wherever they're at. And I think everybody should. Yeah, you might lose relationships or jobs, but if people don't start doing this all at once on this planet, shutting down the narcissist system in operation, it's just going to continue. I mean, if we just ignore crazy stuff. I mean, sure, I could have just, like today, I could have just walked past those bottles of stuff sitting there and not said anything. That's what I would have done in the past. Just thought, well, it's no big deal. I'll just put them back in a bag later and put them away again. But where is that going to get me? That's more work on me because somebody else was inconsiderate. And that's what it boils down to, is the inconsiderateness of other people putting things on you because they don't care. And then being that it was just nuts to begin with, there had to be some motive, whether it's out of laziness or crazy making, which I would go with the latter, or whatever. They do these things, it's intentional. And if it isn't, they're guided by the spirit that makes that intentional. That's who they walk with. Because a normal person would have said, I'm sorry, can we grab a bag? Or if you grab a bag and put them away from me, I'll like do something for you later or something. Isn't that how people do things? I think it is. That's how I do things. Yeah, that's how people operate on this planet. That's why I told him he wasn't a man, because humans don't, they don't roll like that. They'd be like, even I'm sorry or whatever. And before he left, he was telling me he was an idiot. And, well, I can't disagree, but he didn't mean it. But I just let him know that I totally agree, even though I know that he doesn't believe that of himself. although it's true, you know. But I am going to share that Legends of History with you, and I just really want you to think um, the way a woman's mind operates and the tenderness that she really does want to have in this world, that this world is not letting her have, is her closeness with God that men don't have, you know. So that's my experience, you know. So, yeah. Just think about it. Think about really maybe who's the real Christ. Will the real Christ please stand up? Will the men that know who it is and the Eastern Star women and you going to tell the truth someday, or are you going to wait till the energy of God comes to get you? I wonder. Because they're pushing this fake alien invasion. Yeah, they are. And there's nothing off this world that they're not producing to cause more fear in people. That's what's going to be coming up pretty soon here. I'd say this coming year, 2024, the next year. At least by then, if not in 2023. So, well, everybody, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. I hope your day's going wonderful. And mine is. It's nothing new. I just thought I'd give you a little insight on like the workings in the mind of the madman, the mad scientist. And some of you might believe that, and some of you may not. You know, there's nobody has to really hide or do anything on this planet, because if you're in tune, you already know, and so does everybody else. So who's hiding what from who and why? They're hiding it from you, so you can't feel your full potential and be closer to God. That's what they're doing. If you don't know the communication mode on how to be close, maybe you do, maybe you don't. So, and the world is pretty hectic, so I'd say most people don't. You know, why would the disciples hate Mary if she's the most loved of all women that Christ ever met? There must be a reason for that. So, anyway, just thinking out loud. Have a really beautiful night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.